Hello there, dearest friends and assorted enemies. WhatCulture Wrestling's Adam Clery here, back again for another installment of everyone's favourite show about NXT on this channel, which I present, NXT Ups and Downs. Before I start though, guys, I just want to offer a hearty congratulations to every single person involved over at AEW for being renewed for another 4 years and, most importantly, getting a second show on television. I'd also like to offer my hearty congratulations to Simon Miller, who's going to have to present the coverage of it. But back to more important matters though, and as everybody knows, NXT is the best wrestling show on a Wednesday night, and last night was Wednesday night, so we got the best wrestling show on television. And oh me, oh my, oh god, oh gee, oh whiz, oh boy, oh howdy, did they have a lot planned. 2 matches of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, a #1 contendership battle royal for the entire women's division to see who would face Rhea Ripley, plus loads more to boot. It was a bumper episode, so without further ado, my name is Adam Clery, and these are all the ups and downs for this week's episode of NXT. I'm going to have to stop giving these automatic ups because they do them every week, but the opening title card where they reran through everything that happened, including TakeOver Blackpool, was excellent again. It's no longer an up, it's not getting an up, it's just a reason why the show is good. One thing I'm going to give an up for, purely because I have the power, is Caden Carter Sign Girl, because I really like Caden Carter and I want everybody else to really like Caden Carter, so a Caden Carter Sign Girl is going to get an up because it's my show. But we start the show proper with a down, I'm sorry to say, and while this one is a little bit harsh, it is nonetheless very, very true. There was no Nigel McGuinness, and that's bad. We were told that having called NXT UK TakeOver 2 Blackpool, or NXT TakeOver UK Blackpool 2, or NXT TakePool over Black 2, whatever, that he was getting some much-deserved R&R, and while I will not deny the man his rest and relaxation, the show is worse for not having him on it. And when you think about it, that is kind of extraordinary, isn't it? That Nigel McGuinness is WWE's best colour commentator by a country mile. The guy never ever wrestled for the company despite getting signed, and he was never a big name in North America despite his Ring of Honor run, and yet the best colour guy that WWE have is the least WWE guy in the commentary teams. So, bit odd, but fair play. And to slightly tweak an old phrase, as the Lord taketh away, he also giveth, because in his absence, I genuinely, truly, honestly, madly, deeply thought that Beth Phoenix was excellent. I have criticised her on this show. I have made jokes about her on podcasts. I've even had a pop on social media because I didn't think she was very good as the third person in this 3-person booth. She was very much the third person in this 3-person booth, but she was brilliant. Tonight she really, really stepped it up. And I guess hearing how good she was when given the opportunity, it kind of makes you realise that it must be really hard to add insight when Nigel McGuinness is there, and it's also quite hard to add a word in at all when Mauro Ranallo's there. So hopefully producers have heard this episode and are going to go, well, let's let her talk more. Like, I'm not being harsh here. Normally what happens on NXT is that Mauro Ranallo calls the thing that happens, then Nigel McGuinness explains why it was good, and Beth Phoenix is just left there to go, couldn't agree more, Nigel. Whereas tonight she felt important and insightful. So well done, Beth. Have an up. Now, what do I always tell you, even though I've never actually said this before? If you've got a show action-packed with jam-filled matches, or jam-packed with action-filled matches, whatever, then it's best to not open with a promo. Get straight into the action. Take this searing hot crowd and give them the wrestling they have come to see. Don't open it with a promo. However, what I also say, despite never actually having said this before either, is that if you're gonna do that, then at least keep it short and sweet. Keith Lee came out, addressed the crowd, said he was gonna end the Undisputed Era's reign, and it was literally about as long as I've explained it to you there. Then the Undisputed Era came out and they had a big old fight. And while there is this growing criticism that NXT only has one speed, and that speed is like, exciting adrenaline, that's not really a problem if you use it correctly. Like, Keith Lee's not a great promo, is he? He's passable, he's fine, he's okay, but rather than having him stand there, do a slightly awkward couple of lines, just have him do a fight instead, because a bad promo can hurt a feud, but no one's really going to get bored of watching wrestlers do what wrestlers are paid to do. NXT does badly need to sort the lack of good promos in 2020, but for this segment, for the purposes of this show, keeping it short, keeping it sweet, keeping it violent, this promo gets an up. Tell you what's not good though, spoiling your surprise returns. Like, the Women's Battle Royal later on tonight had 4 surprise entrants in it. Technically 4 surprise entrants. One who was making their debut, one who was making a return from injury, one who was making a return from just returning, and one who was making a return and is called Shayna Baszler. Now, they clearly get that people love surprises, hence why they didn't announce Baszler, but, like, 2 of the other ones were just given to you for free. And I don't get that at all, because surprise returns and these big pops are what makes wrestling wrestling. And everyone was really hyped for Tegan Nox to come back, and everyone was really hyped for Mercedes Martinez to debut. And yet they spoiled one by putting her on the big, like, graphic thing, and the other by having her just run up and hug Candice LeRae. You can't have too much of a good thing. More is more. Give us more of these surprises. Don't ruin them like an hour and a half beforehand. Down. Some actual wrestling now, and when NXT announced the return of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, there appeared to be 2 major problems with it. One, the inclusion of the NXT UK brand, which they'd done precisely nothing for about a year to make you care in, and 2, they don't actually have any tag teams. My dear friends, how long ago did those 2 problems feel right now? They've done a brilliant takeover in Blackpool, and they've had some absolutely banger matches on the Dusty Classic. I feel a fool. So, a few things to go through here. First off, the Broserweights are just, I can't express how good that is. Every now and then they throw 2 single stars together who, like, through a combination of either just their patter or their in-ring style or their personalities or something, just randomly gel really well together when you wouldn't have thought they would. And the Broserweights, who should, by the way, be called joint manipulation, am I right, lads, are this perfected to a key. I've no idea what perfected to a key is there, but said it now. I'm actually going to give the team themselves an up before we even get into the match, because Riddle and Dunn have both felt a little bit directionless on NXT. They've had some great matches, but not really had a story or anything that they can get their teeth into or really let their personalities come across. And yet, simply by shrugging and doing the bro thing, they are doing more than they were doing for the previous 3 or 4 months. It's just, I love it. And as for the match itself, absolutely fair flips to Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. Like, my word, they have turned me around on those 2. I thought they were very much a spare part at TakeOver Blackpool, but the match they put together with Riddle and Dunn here was chef kiss. It says everything about how good this match was, that he genuinely believed they were going to beat Dunn and Riddle at some point. So, you know, there's little moments in tag team matches where somebody hits a finisher just as their partner bins off the other member of the team. You're like, oh, they've done it. They did that like 3 times and got me with every single one of them. In the end, though, it was like, I don't know what they're going to call this, but Pete Dunne hits a bitter end right into Matt Riddle's knee, and that was the pin. It was truly, truly excellent. They advance to the next round. Morgan Webster and Andrews go back to NXT UK, hopefully taking a couple of viewers along with them, and the match gets an up. And screw it gets the yellow jacket as well, because I'm always telling you to watch really, really long matches, aren't I? And this was short but sweet. Now, I'm going to get into what an improbable success Worlds Collide feels like it's going to be, but I'm also going to have to give it down to this whole next Ciampa DIY segment, because while I'm really excited for everything this is all going to lead to, it's starting to create its own problems. And if you were ever going to reform DIY, which is, by the way, what happens in this segment, kind of feels like it needs to mean more than just, hey, 2 British guys we've never met said that we should fight them. Shall we? Hey, I guess we should. Remember when I tried to kill you that time? No, I've completely forgotten. And yeah, Ciampa comes down, cuts this weird promo on Adam Cole, because again, Ciampa, great wrestler, not an amazing promo these days. And it's just all this hit list stuff, and it was weird. Then there was an attack, and then Gargano saved it. It was like, hey, yeah, we're pals again, yeah. And then there was this, oh, we've had a tweet from Mustache Mountain, and just, yeah, like, okay, they're going to get away with it because the match is going to be an absolute banger, but, like, Ciampa's meant to be all about Adam Cole, and Gargano's meant to be all about Finn Balor. It's like, well, let's just forget about that for 2 weeks. Do you ever feel like I ramble a bit? I sometimes feel like I ramble a bit. Anyway, Zach Gibson and James Drake taking on the team of Alex Shelley and Kushida in the second match of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. And, sorry, what did I say last week? You presume we'll meet grizzled young veterans next time out. They've got Alex Shelley and Kushida, which is a great team, but just feels like they brought Shelley in so that Kushida could kind of take the defeat. The amount of abuse I got on social media for saying that last week, like, oh my god, Adam, the time splitters are clearly going to win. You can't bring Alex Shelley into NXT and do anything but build Kushida up through the tag team division. Let me do my job. More importantly than that, though, Zach Gibson is currently WWE's most underutilized performer, and I want absolutely zero at disagreeing with that. The man currently plies his trade on WWE's least watched brand, and does so in a tag team, meaning he has to share the ring with 3 other people every single time he's on it. Like, James Drake is brilliant. Some of the tag teams he's up against are brilliant, but the man is at his absolute best when he is alone with a microphone. And lo and behold, he managed to cut the best promo we've seen on NXT in months in the space of 2 minutes while he was still gassed from his match. He alone gets an up. Match itself was absolutely brilliant though. The time splitters being back is obviously a huge moment, but to use that to allow a team from NXT UK to get what felt like a major scalp in the middle of a banger match is... Again, I can't believe I was complaining about this tag team tournament. I feel an idiot. And the thing was, the whole match was presented as, look how strong and big and tough these 2 British lads are. Won't it be fun when Kushida and Shelley managed to overcome them with a really cool spot? That was the whole build-up to the match. And then they just hit them really hard in the face and shoved Kushida off the top rope into the barrier. It was genuinely a shocking finish, and probably the biggest, most shocking upset on NXT since... Cast my mind back. What was the last massive shocking result? Oh, I know. Since the last time Kushida was on telly, when he lost to Cameron Grimes. Right, so there is the up for the match. The match gets an up. Go watch a match. The match is really good. Grizzly Young Veterans advance to the next round, etc., etc. But the amount of directionless stars on NXT is starting to feel like a problem. Like, in the past, they would go and sign the best people they could, and they would either develop as wrestlers or just learn the WWE style, while in NXT then eventually get moved up to the main roster. And they've kept the acquisition part of all that. They're still trying to get these big stars, but now, because they're on television, they can't keep moving them up to the main roster, and a logjam is developing. Kushida felt like one of the biggest stars in the entire world when they signed him, and he's now on a losing streak that includes names like Cameron Grimes and James Drake. That is absolutely improbable and out of nowhere. Like, Isaiah Swerve Scott wins a really good match later on in the night. Spoiler alert, but he's barely been featured on the brand since he first debuted. Like, you've got Damian Priest as well. What's he doing? Killian Dane. What's he doing? Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne. They're great together, but they've both been treading water in the mid-card themselves as well. Kovach's entire gimmick is just man who occasionally fights Keith Lee. There's all these people who, under normal circumstances, would either be getting cycled in or cycled out or be near the top of the card. Now it's just like, there are so many stars and you haven't got the TV time for them all. Velveteen Dream still has to come back. The they're going to do with him. Not down this, but it's a worry. Like, right now I don't mind because all the matches we get are bangers, but the amount of people whose careers are just not quite going as well as they should be because they're on this brand and they are suffocated by the amount of other talent on it is just... It could be a problem down the line. It could be a very big problem down the line. Right now, it's just a concern. And speaking of Isaiah Swerve Scott, he made a rare appearance and picked up a pretty big win in this triple threat match to see who would go forward to the Fatal 4-Way at Worlds Collide. So there's one person winning for 3 to go and face 4. It's kind of confusing. Reigning Cruiserweight champion Angel Garza was at ringside. One of these men would become one of his opponents, and then you presume 2 more from NXT UK to really get that nice Worlds Collide feel. And this match was a corker of a banger, of a humdinger, of a zipper, of a howitzer, of a running out of analogies. And you gotta say, like, for someone who is featured as infrequently as Swerve, this is a big bloody win. Like, Tyler Breeze is still regarded by many people as a main roster guy. Lio Rush is brilliant and was the most recent former Cruiserweight champion. So for him to get between these two, especially in a match that Rush dominated that much, is... We've been saying there should be big things in store for him, and hopefully this leads to that. Now, this match is exactly what you're expecting it to be. It is frenetic, it is energetic, it is high-flying, it's all over the place. It's a complete mess, but a glorious one in the process. And in the end, well, poor Tyler Breeze. Rush hits the come-up on him, and gets thrown out of the ring, and then Swerve hits the JML driver, I think it's called, on him, and picks up the win. Not a good day at the office. It's an up, of course, and yet another example of how matches related to the Cruiserweight Championship on NXT simply do not miss. It's almost as if they should have their own show or something. Anyway, back to the parking lot now, and because NXT only has one emotion, and it's exciting and adrenaline, there's a brawl in the car park. And again, because NXT so badly, desperately needs to win, not just the ratings war, but the GIF war on social media against AEW, here is Keith Lee barging a man through a bush. I want to be better. I want to be better than the person who sees that and goes, haha, funny, and gives it an up, but also, haha, funny. Look, I really resent that. I really actually dislike the fact I'm giving that an up because it's such a cheap spot, so cynically done to get reposted all over social media, and I hate how many brawls they have, and just, I shouldn't do it, but I'm weak. I like seeing a man get bounced out of a car park. What can I say? And quickly, before we get to tonight's main event, it is now time for the most important new segment here on NXT Ups and Downs, a regular recurring thing that will happen every single week until I get what I want. It is Boog Watch. Yes, here it is, friends. Here is the free jazzy up I am willing to give NXT every single week if I see Eric Bugenhagen, or to use his new name, Rick Buggs. He was on that last one before we all went home for Christmas. It was lovely to see him. Then he was doing the stuff where he was playing his guitar and lifting the weights, and I want to see this man on my wrestling programming. And if he's there, they can have this jazzy up. So, the question is, did we see Rick Buggs? We did not. The main event now, and... oh, God, sorry. Hello? Hello, Simon, how's it going? It's too much like a dinosaur up. I've never heard of that before, mate. Sorry. Wrong number. Yes, the main event now, and was anybody else slightly embarrassed for the rest of the wrestling world when these entrances started? It's just like, right, here is Rhea Ripley, a woman on the greatest streak of any woman currently in wrestling. Probably, here she is, the champion. But who shall face it? It was like, oh, credible challenger number 1, credible challenger number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, and how have they got so many? Just wrote a couple of the more choice names down for you here. Candice LeRae could obviously absolutely go and face her at TakeOver. Mia Yim wouldn't be everyone's first choice, but tends to deliver in big matches when asked to. Bianca Belair, yep, main eventer. Mercedes Martinez, big name, just arrived in the company. Io Shirai, probably the fans' choice, definitely a main eventer. Tegan Nox, got a main event at some point. Brilliant everywhere she's ever been. Should have won at least one Mae Young Classic by now. Xia Li, excellent. One of the most experienced women in all of professional wrestling. Absolutely worthy of a TakeOver match. Even, like, Kacy Catanzaro was amazing shock. People were delighted to have her back. You could have had her win it just for a bit of variety. There wasn't even space on this for, like, Dakota Kai. She appeared later. Or Chelsea Green. She wasn't on it at all. Tay Nara, who's been getting squash matches. She wasn't even in it. It's just... how do you have so many good women's wrestlers? Deonna Purrazzo's not an obvious main eventer, but she could be somewhere down the line. I really rate Kaden Carter. She was in there as well. Shotzi Blackheart, for God's sake, got to eliminate... well, we'll get to that in a little bit. She is a ready-made star as well. It is an embarrassment of riches that they saw fit to include Shayna Baszler in this as well. The woman who probably had the most dominant 2019 in all of women's wrestling. Sorry, Becky Lynch, she did. Just showing off. Now, I can't really describe to you what happens in this because it is a battle royal with loads and loads and loads of people. Basically, some people get chucked over the top rope and then sometimes they hold on and sometimes they don't. That's how it goes. Battle royals are great. You should just go and watch this match. But the final 4 of your evening was Tegan Nox, yes, good choice. Bianca Belair, yes, good choice. Io Shirai, yes, everyone's favourite choice. And Shayna Baszler. It felt... I'll put it this way, if the Women's Royal Rumble is better than the final 4 of this, I'll be astonished. You've probably heard by now that Bianca Belair wins this, and that gets an up because the match was really good and it was a great conclusion, and Bianca Belair fully deserves to get a TakeOver shot at Rhea Ripley. She will be excellent, but we need to talk about Io Shirai. She was by about a million miles the most over person in this entire Battle Royal, despite still being presented as a heel. She feels like the most natural next opponent for Rhea Ripley. Not the long-term one, not the long story, but right now, in the moment, she's got that intangible factor. She's been brilliant. She was, after Ripley, probably the next strongest candidate to take Shayna Baszler's title away from her. And it's just, I don't know, you hope her popularity isn't counting against her, or you just hope that all this talk about her wanting to leave isn't quite true, because other than that, they're either waiting for WrestleMania or they just don't rate her, and both of those carry problems. But yes, this is a problem for another video, I am sure. Congratulations, Bianca Belair. Her versus Ripley at TakeOver is going to be an absolute thumper anyway, so it doesn't really matter. What a show! What a show, guys! Loads of matches, loads of really good matches, and lots of talking points. a fun one for me. But hey, as ever, let me know what you made of it all in the comments below. Of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I now have to write the article version of this as well, so please head over to whatculture.com/WWE and read that. But please don't point out any small grammatical errors. I have such a small window in which to do it. In the meantime, though, thank you so much for watching. Of course, from Adam Clery, #on Thursdays. We wear yellow, and I will see you soon.